But God says, I see people using you, but they don't know what's in you. And I'm going to bless you in this season, even though you have told yourself this is all it can ever be. I mean, do you know how powerful that is? That this is the plot of ground that Jacob gave Joseph? It wasn't even supposed to be Jacob that the nation of Israel came through. Plot twist. You didn't even get a high school degree. Plot twist. God doesn't need you to be educated, just available, just open, just humble, just a disciple, just committed. Plot twist. Put it in the chat right now. He's the God of the plot twist. And I'm going to tell you how I know that he is. Not only does God bless the wrong people from an earthly perspective, like a woman at a well or like a trickster named Jacob, not only does he bring forth nations from people whose names carry baggage, or in the case of the woman at the well, people whose names we don't even know. You ever thought about that? That wasn't on her birth certificate, woman at the well. But God said, I'm going to take characters that other people think are just props, and I am going to use them for a purpose that nobody can understand. You better get excited about this word, because God is using people in this season that we walk past. Now, I don't know if you want to hear this message or not, because we get pretty settled into our story, don't we? And we get pretty settled into our situation and our system, and we just want a burger, and we just want to drink, and we just want to survive it. And here we are in a year where most of us just want to go back to how it was. And how it is not how it's supposed to be. And yet, Jacob gave Joseph this plot of ground in Sychar near Samaria. Let me stop here for a minute. This is the area that everyone else avoided. It is the area that Jesus intended to go through. Jacob was the secondborn. Esau was the firstborn. God blessed the second before the first. And the last shall be first, and the first shall be last. You killed him by hanging him on a cross, but God raised him from the dead. Plot twist. That's all the gospel is. Let the weak say, I am strong. Plot twist. I love it. It may be helpful for me to remind you at this point that the reason I look like I'm about to bust out of this suit with excitement, not with fat cells, not with cellulite, with excitement and enthusiasm. The reason I'm about to come unglued off this stage is because for 22 years, Jacob thought Joseph was dead. So do you realize that the miracle happened through somebody that was as good as dead? For 22 years. I mean, you got to get in this mindset, not for 22 hours, not for 22 days, not for 22 weeks, not for 22 months. For 22 years, Jacob thought, I've lost Joseph. And Joseph was his favorite. Oh yeah, every parent has their favorite. It might change from moment to moment, but you have a favorite. You have a favorite. You have a favorite. My favorite is whichever one I'm talking to at that moment, telling them that they're my favorite. But Joseph had a coat. Joseph was the favorite. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and left for dead. And when they went back and told Jacob that Joseph was dead, who was the first child of Rachel, who he really loved, Joseph is gone, meant to Jacob, I may as well die too. He said, you will bring my gray head down to the grave. So now do you understand that the plot twist in John chapter 4 wasn't just about a woman who came for a drink? It's about a God who takes things that you thought were dead and things that you thought were over, and things that you thought didn't matter and things that you thought people betrayed you and people forgot about you and people left you and people ignored you and people abandoned you. They betrayed Joseph. And so when it said that it was Jacob's well and that it was the well, the plot of ground that Jacob gave his son Joseph after 22 years. Can we visit the scene for a moment? It's in Genesis 48. It's really beautiful, man. Because you got to think, like, God sent Joseph to Egypt, and on one hand, his brothers betrayed him and they sold him. But on the other hand, Joseph saw, after 13 years of what seemed to be like a setback. And the reason I'm preaching it is because I think a lot of people are feeling like life is just one giant setback right now. And things have stalled out for you and it's not moving forward and it's not happening and the plans that you made all got canceled and all got interrupted. God said to tell you that he's the God of a plot twist. That just about the time you are ready to turn the movie off, don't turn it off. Just about the time that you are ready to stop believing in God, don't stop believing in God yet. Just about the time you're ready to say, I will never see Joseph again. Because see, it was a famine that hit Canaan that made Jacob's sons go and find Joseph. Do you remember this? And when they went and saw Joseph, they didn't even know it was him at first. But then eventually Joseph revealed himself to his brothers and said, it's me. It's me, the one that you left for dead. I'm the one that God is going to use to provide for you. Plot twist. You remember his most famous verse in Genesis 50:20? You meant it for evil. God meant it for good. What does that mean? That means he's the God of a plot twist. That means he takes what the enemy meant for evil and uses it for good in your life, in your bloodline, in your generation, in our church, in our families, in our nation, in our world, on this continent. God is a generational God. And he goes through Samaria and he takes us through some areas and he does some things in our lives in disappointed places. And when Jacob was getting ready to die, he called Joseph to his bedside. It's a really beautiful scene. This is great for Father's Day, okay? Genesis chapter 48. He said, Joseph, come in the room. I want to give a blessing to my grandchildren. Now, Genesis 48:11 is the one I want to focus your heart on for a moment. Israel said to Joseph, you're like, wait a minute, I thought you were talking about Jacob. I am. The one named Jacob was also called Israel. Jacob means heel grabber. Plot twist. Israel means prince with God. I'm telling you, man. Jesus looked at that woman and he didn't see a whore. He saw a worshiper. He looked at Jacob and he didn't see a heel grabber. He saw a prince. I love him for that. I love him for all the times that he could have just given up on me. I love him for all the ways, I'm screwing up things left and right as a pastor, as a parent, as a husband. I know I get it so wrong, but go ahead and clap your hands and praise hand emoji if you know you serve the God of the plot twist. If you know that he knows your real name, your real righteousness is in Christ. Wow. So Israel, also called Jacob, said to Joseph, the one he never thought he'd see again, the dream that he thought had died, the thing that he thought was over. What is your Joseph? What is the thing that you have given up on in your life and you've said the story is over and this is the way it's going to be and I'm just always going to just struggle with this. I'm always going to deal with this. I'm never going to get over this and I'm never going to get victory. And I'm going to sing the words to the song, but I don't really mean them or believe them anymore because I'm just going through the motions and I'm just going through this. What is your Joseph? Now watch this. Israel said to Joseph, I never expected to see your face again. And now God has allowed me to see your children too. Whew. He's the God of the plot twist. Not only did he let him see Joseph, but he used everything that Joseph had been through to save the whole family, because he's the God of the plot twist. Not only did he minister to the woman, he sent the woman to go get the whole town. Plot twist. He skipped a meal, but he reaped the harvest. God is the God of the plot twist. Now, who is this for? If this is for you, just tell me right now. Say, this is for me. This is for me. This is for me. This is bread. From heaven for me. God said,